What's up, Taiwan? I'm Tiffany Wong with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. May 1st marks International Labor Day, and in Taiwan, workers are taking to the streets to call for better workplace protections and rights. Many say bullying has become a major issue that the government needs to do more to address. Thousands of people representing dozens of labor unions and NGOs marched on Labor Day around Taiwan's presidential office in Taipei. They included workers from the manufacturing, medical, and banking sectors, calling for better workplace protections, including changes to the Labor Standards Act for benefits like more flexible time off, more national holidays, and even 4-day work weeks. In 2023, Taiwanese workers ranked 5th overall for working the longest hours compared to other developed countries. And those in the care services industry say long hours take a toll on their mental and physical health and affect the quality of their work.
这近20年来都一样，都是工作9个小时到10个小时，所以在这个部分，你说要工作者有一个很好的照顾品质，其实是非常为难，然后身心负荷非常大的一种工作样态。
Stagnant wages is another issue that some essential workers say drive many out of the care industry.
我真的希望让全国的民众看到、听到，我们护理人员真的没有低薪，我们没有像人家想象中的说我们是贪得无厌，都这么高薪了，为什么还要出来争取？我们平均薪资都是3到4万，这都是可以查的。
Another top concern, workplace bullying, after several high-profile incidents in recent years, including at the Labor Ministry itself, that have led to suicides. Taiwan's labor laws currently do not address reporting workplace bullying and harassment. But according to the latest poll, more than 70% of the public say they've experienced bullying in the workplace. And with these cases happening in the upper echelons of the government itself, these labor unions can't help but ask, how much will it take for the government to enact change?
但是这么多年来，我们认为政府并没有真正的去倾听基层劳工的声音，那没有去倾听工会的一个意见、想法，甚至于我们提出的很多的具体的政策措施，政府也都并没有采纳。
At a cabinet meeting on Labor Day, the head of the Labor Ministry's Occupational Safety and Health Administration came out with a list of improvements the government aims to make.
透过这次职场霸凌的法制化，我们希望要求企业能更加重视，然后积极预防，那提供劳工申诉管道，保障劳工的权益，以营造友善的职场。
Also at issue, rights for civil servants. Under current law, civil service workers are not allowed to form unions for collective bargaining and are forbidden from going on strike. Labor advocates say this puts them at a disadvantage.
Taiwan has made strides in labor rights in the past few years, including improvements to the national holiday system. But without legal protections against workplace bullying, long working hours, and stagnant wages, workers here will continue calling for more action. Klein Wong, Chris Ma, Reese Ayers, and Tiffany Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwanese lawmakers visiting Washington say they've talked with U.S. lawmakers about everything from trade to defense spending. Their visit comes at a key moment as Taiwan and other countries use a 90-day pause and steep U.S. tariffs to push forward negotiations. Joyce Sung has the latest.
Taiwan lawmakers make progress on the Hill, meeting with U.S. senators and representatives in Washington, D.C., as Taipei looks to strengthen ties with its largest international backer. In the background, ongoing negotiations led by a different Taipei team to avoid steep U.S. tariffs. This bipartisan legislative group looking to relieve pressure on other issues that's weighed on Taiwan-U.S. trade, like the problem of double taxation.
避免双重课税的问题，因为这个也涉及到我们接下来跟美方之间的谈判，还有如果说希望有更多的这些到美国投资的这些项目或者厂商。
Before Donald Trump took office in January, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill to cut taxes on Taiwanese businesses and employees in the United States, easing the burden of being taxed in both countries. Taiwan praised the move. The bill is now in the hands of the Senate to approve, paving the way for the U.S. president to sign it into law. The delegation is looking to keep up the momentum behind the bill at a time of a changing world order under Trump. Some American lawmakers, too, are working to retain long-standing bipartisan support for Taiwan.
It's important we have strong relations with Taiwan and the military there. That's a hugely important trade corridor, the Straits of Taiwan. So it's important we maintain strong relations, and that's what we're going to do.
But Taiwan has been rattled by some of the Trump administration's demands, like a call for Taipei to raise its defense spending to 10% of GDP, a rate Premier Zhou Rongtai says is impossible. In D.C., ruling Democratic Progressive Party lawmaker Wong hopes to show his U.S. counterparts that the defense budget has increased, with an aim to spend over 3% of GDP.
应该沟通了一些，不管是避免双重课税，现在在参议院最后一里路，那以及台美之间军购的议题，以及台美合作训练的议题。
The cross-party delegation has also met with leading think tanks, the Hudson Institute and Heritage Foundation, and the U.S.-Taiwan Business Council, making the most out of their week in the U.S.'s political center. Scott Wong and Joyce Sun for TaiwanPlus.
A slim majority of Chinese people taking part in a recent survey said they do not support the use of force against Taiwan. 55% of respondents said force should not be used against Taiwan under any circumstances to achieve unification, while nearly a quarter disagreed with that statement. On U.S.-China relations, only about 24% hold a favorable attitude towards the United States, one of Taiwan's major allies. The survey was designed by the Carter Center, a nonprofit NGO founded by late U.S. President Jimmy Carter and the Emory University. It polled more than 2,000 Chinese nationals. Taiwan's GDP grew over 5.3% in the first quarter, the highest in a year. The government says the figure is higher than they predicted in February. It says this could be because of overseas customers stockpiling products to get ahead of the tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump, and since demand for Taiwan's technology products remains high. Meanwhile, the U.S. economy has slowed, with GDP shrinking in the first quarter, according to government data. The reason? Some economists are pointing to President Donald Trump's tariff plan, but as Chris Gorn now reports, he's defending it.
Donald Trump on his 100th day in office, pushing back against new government numbers showing the U.S. economy may be shrinking.
In the first quarter GDP numbers just out today, core GDP, now we're removing distortions from imports, inventories, and government spending, was up plus 3%. But this is Biden's economy because we took over on January 20th.
Trump claims growth while blaming his predecessor for data showing that U.S. GDP fell 0.3% in the first quarter of 2025, the first time the country has seen negative growth in 3 years. The discrepancy between the numbers rooted in how government data is counted, which Trump calls distortions. Imports surged in the first quarter, and because they're made overseas, the government subtracts them from U.S. GDP. The large increase coming from businesses rushing to import items ahead of Trump's proposed tariffs, which have sent markets tumbling since they were announced last month. Despite celebrating stock market gains in his first term, Trump now downplaying his effect on them.
Yeah, I'm not taking credit or discredit for the stock market. I'm just saying that we inherited a mess. In my case, I had the biggest stock market increase, 88% in the last term, in my last term. But I don't view the stock market as the end-all. It's an indicator.
Trump also downplaying the effects his 145% tariffs on Chinese imports have on U.S. consumers.
Much of it we don't need. You know, somebody said, oh, the shelves are going to be open. Well, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30, you know? And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. But we're not talking about something that we have to go out of our way.
But Americans may not agree, with recent polls showing his overall approval rating dropping, with his handling of the economy being particularly low, with only 36% approving. Trump says he's making deals with U.S. and foreign companies to boost investment, saying the economy will bounce back. But for now, with weak economic numbers and slipping poll support, he's on the defensive. Eason Chen and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
South Korea's acting president Han Duck-soo has stepped down. His resignation hints at a bid to run in the country's snap presidential election in June. Han, an independent, became acting president after his predecessor Yoon Suk-yeol was impeached for declaring martial law last December. So far, only Lee Jae-myung from the opposition Democratic Party has been formally nominated for the presidential race. But Lee's eligibility is in question after South Korea's top court overturned a ruling that cleared Lee of election law violation. The southern Chinese province of Yunnan is known around the world for its tea, but customers' taste buds are changing, and some locals are now brewing coffee. It's a new trend that even the government is now starting to take notice of. Jalan Sata has the story.
After centuries of growing tea, China's tea farmers are now turning towards a new brew, pouring their efforts into a whole new market for coffee.
原来之前呢是说是有钱人才能喝咖啡，现在就不用了，我们国内就直接消掉了。现在。
Just a few generations ago, nobody in Pu'er in China's southern Yunnan province had even heard of coffee. The region was known for its richly fermented tea, Pu'er tea, a beloved beverage famed across East Asia. But as Western trade brought coffee to busy working people of China, taste began to shift. Instead of tea leaves, they started increasingly opting for punchy espressos and flat whites.
最开始大家其实都是从雀巢的速溶开始的，再然后呢是星巴克进入国内，大家开始去喝星巴克的奶咖和美式，然后再到现在的话呢，因为越来越多的人去了解了我们的咖啡，然后了解了我们自己国内也有自己的咖啡的这个产区嘛，然后大家就开始去慢慢去尝试去接受这个精品咖啡，所以说现在也有很多的人开始慢慢去尝试去喝我们的手冲咖啡，因为手冲咖啡确实是可以让大家去更加能够完整的去感受到这是咖啡这个原本带来的风味。
In Pu'er's shady valleys, farmers grow coffee trees, pick and dry their cherries, extract their precious beans, and ship tens of thousands of tons to major cities like Shanghai and Beijing. Tourists come from all over to taste their hand-drip coffee, right from the source. With high mountains and cool weather, the region is perfect for growing coffee, and now produces nearly all of China's supply.
首先，我们就是做农民嘛，做农民，一般我们都不会闲的。一般采摘咖啡的话，就是从10月份到3月份采摘，然后茶叶的话，从3月份到10月份就采结束了。我们是这样。
这里山地气候多，海拔比较高，都在1000米以上，所以种出来咖啡品质就是浓而不苦，香而不烈。 而且都有一定的果酸味道。
With more Chinese choosing beans over leaves, even the government is paying attention. Officials are now rolling out policies to boost investment and attract tourists, to grow the future of coffee in the area once known for the tea it gave its name to. Justin Wu and Zalan Shata for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of a rare Sumatran tiger cub at an Indonesian zoo. I'm Tiffany Wong. Take care and see you next time.
From industrial parks in Taiwan to here in Vietnam, we're bringing you the latest in tech and business news right here on TaiwanPlus News.